The first task of evaluating foot health is checking out your toe dexterity. So what we'll be building today is connectivity with the foot. So to evaluate, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to lift up just your big toe, then you're going to lift up the other 4 toes. You want to see, can you do those things separate from each other, or does it feel like they have to come together? So that's the first task, is can I just lift up my big toe, keep the other 4 on the ground, lift up the other 4 toes, keep my big toe on the ground. Part of what you're doing when you're looking at this action is people will cheat and they'll roll their ankle outside in order to help them get that big toe up, or they'll roll inside and they'll overpronate in order to get those other toes up. Your goal is to keep your foot flat. You can even go into an arch. You can squeeze your arch together and lift your big toe, lift the other 4 toes. That's the first task. Second task is, can you spread your toes? So being able to spread the toes is really valuable for how much range of motion you have in terms of being able to find that space. And then what we want to do is be able to piano our toes. So if that was a challenge for you at all, then what we're going to want to focus on is blocking the toes so that you can isolate those muscles and rebuild the neurology. So what I'm doing is called toe waving. I'll curl my outside 4 toes and I'm going to use my hand to block that. And I'm just going to focus on my big toe, and I want to create the raising action with my big toe. So what I'm doing is I'm separating my big toe from the other 4 toes simply by using my hand to challenge that space and keep it locked. Then I'll do my hand on the big toe, keep that locked, and then work my other 4 toes, trying to get that lift action. So we've done lift for both. Now we're going to do press. So I'm lifting these toes back, and then I'll press my big toe down. I'm trying to, again, separate these 2 motions, my big toe, and differentiate that from my other 4 toes. So that is toe waving. Again, I'm using my hands as a block, and that's going to allow me to develop more dexterity in my toes. The other thing we'll do, you can head down here, is we just want to work on splaying the toes. So you can do this standing, but you also want to be able to do it just free sitting, where we're taking those toes and we're spreading them apart from each other. Ultimately, eventually, you'll want to be able to do this with your big toe. But at the beginning, oftentimes it just starts with, I'm just spreading. A lot of people making sure that they can focus on that pinky and spreading that apart from the big toe. That's usually where they start. And then eventually you'll get into being able to control your abductor hallucis. So that is the basic toe dexterity drills. Now you're going to work isometric isolation. So what I'm doing is I'll find the corner of a wall. I'll have my toe roll up against it, and now it's already into dorsiflexion. It's already into that extending back or lifting up. So from here, what I'm doing is I'm going to press those toes down into the ground, my other 4 toes. I'm going to pull my big toe away from the wall, and then I'm going to slide back. And then here, I'm going to come back down, pull back up, and reframe what I'm doing. So all I'm doing with the wall is that's a prop for me to get into a good position, and then I'll find muscle activation at my end range of motion. And that is how ultimately I'm going to work to improve my range. So if we're looking from this side, I can also do the same thing with the big toe. I can put that big toe down, lift those other 4 toes, and work to keep that motion isolated. So again, big toe down, lifting my other 4 toes. As I slide back, I still have some of that lift. And then that's going to help me be able to differentiate what I'm doing in my toes.